Coming up on The Cycle, Attorney General Jeff Sessions gets feisty during Senate testimony. Dreamers continue to be granted work permits under Trump. And what point was this politician trying to make by beheading a chicken? All that and more coming to you live right now.
Hey, welcome to The Cycle. I'm Aaliyah Jasmine.
I'm Jacques Slade. There's so much happening today. Let's get right to the biggest stories in case you missed it.
Yeah, Attorney General and Elf on the Shelf lookalike Jeff Sessions testified to the Senate that he did not collude with any Russians, but he refused to reveal details of his private conversations with the president, basically citing executive privilege.
Right. Sessions really got grilled, including this awkward moment with Arkansas Republican Tom Cotton.
Do you like spy fiction, John le Carré, Daniel Silva, Jason Matthews? Do you like Jason Bourne or James Bond movies?
No. Yes.
Aren't first dates the worst? It's like, so your Bumble profile said that you like spy fiction?
I mean, a little bit. All right. And then there was the moment California Democrat Kamala Harris got cut off after flustering Sessions. Take a listen.
To be
And
honest.
I'm not able to be rushed this fast. It makes me nervous.
What is it about strong black female former prosecutor Kamala Harris that makes Sessions nervous? I can't quite put my finger on it.
I don't know. That's weird. Anyway, another great detail out of the Senate today. Republicans on the Rules Committee decided that on-camera interviews with senators in Capitol hallways would no longer be allowed.
Journalists cried foul all over Twitter, and the committee reversed the reversal, saying, quote, "You may continue to follow the rules as if it was yesterday."
Yeah, that's one way to change things, I guess. Was this just an attempt to minimize backlash to the Senate's supposedly soon-to-be-released healthcare bill?
Well, we didn't find out because President Trump told a group of Senate Republicans that he wants more money put in the healthcare bill to make it, quote, "generous, kind, with heart," end quote.
Such a way with words. He even called the House version of the bill mean and a, quote, son of a bitch.
Quite a way with words.
Quite a way with words. In case you forgot, this is the same bill that he threw an afternoon Rose Garden beer party for. That healthcare beer is such a fickle mistress.
Okay, moving on. North Korea released an American student that they detained for 17 months back to the United States.
Yeah, in 2016, Otto Warmbier was convicted of hostile acts towards the regime, and he's apparently been in a botulism-induced coma for over a year.
We're gonna have so much explaining to do when he wakes up.
Yeah, it's gonna be really weird. Really, the weirdest part of all of this is Warmbier's release had absolutely nothing to do with Dennis Rodman.
Shocker.
That's right. We have to say that because the ex-Bulls star is reportedly traveling to North Korea as we speak to visit his old pal Kim Jong-un.
Yeah, don't forget that Rodman was a contestant on Celebrity Apprentice, so he's basically qualified to be an ambassador.
Basically. Some think the purpose of Rodman's trip is to promote Potcoin. Yes, I said Potcoin. It's a cryptocurrency in the marijuana industry. And Dennis, if you're going to introduce Kim Jong-un to pot, I would probably start with edibles first.
Good reco. And that's in case you missed it. And now for the really important stories that got overshadowed by the session, it's Below the Fold.
During the campaign, Donald Trump had some heavy criticism for the policy that created so-called dreamers. Those are children who were brought into the country illegally, but allowed to stay. In fact, he promised to shut down the Dreamers program on day one of his presidency.
Well, new government data shows that more than 100,000 Dreamers have had their work permits renewed since January, and an additional 17,000 new Dreamers were granted amnesty.
Trump isn't exactly known for keeping his campaign promises, but with immigration being such a huge issue for his base, this program specifically gets a lot of Republican blood boiling. What will they think? We'll keep an eye on Breitbart so you don't have to.
You're welcome. Next up, Apple CEO Tim Cook confirmed long-standing rumors that his company is working on technology for self-driving cars. Now, not the cars themselves, just the software.
Yeah, last year, Apple laid off dozens of engineers who were working on autonomous vehicles, which hints that they may have been working on the car themselves before deciding just to focus on the software. And that's a smart move. Better to crash someone else's car when testing new technology. Yeah.
Okay, moving on. 3 people were arrested in Thailand after police raided a click farm operation. They are accused of using up to 500 cell phones and 350,000 SIM cards to artificially inflate the numbers of clicks on ads on WeChat, a popular messaging app in China.
Yeah, their setup was crazy. They had a wall covered with phones that they would use to click on ads over and over and over.
Like manually.
Yeah.
If there's one silver lining to this story, it's that here are 3 people who have managed to stave off automation and beat the bots that are replacing good old-fashioned human online fraudsters.
Yeah, innovation at its finest. All right, lastly, a Missouri state representative decided to mark the announcement of his new anti-abortion bill by cutting the head off a chicken?
Yeah, that's right. State House member Mike Moon went on Facebook Live to announce his new bill before briefly pausing to shear a chicken's head off. Moon gave some convoluted comments about holding power over life as rationale for how cutting a chicken's head off relates to abortion.
But, sorry to say this, don't think he's not a showman.
What?
After dismembering the bird, he said, "We've got to get to the heart of the matter here." Yes, it's going exactly where you think it is, while holding the chicken's heart in his hands. It works on so many levels.
Puns, just so punny,
Yeah, it's
that
like
guy.
genius.
That's below the fold.
All right, now it's time for a story that for a lot of people was just TLDR or too long didn't read.
Yeah, so the Golden State Warriors are once again NBA champions, and if basketball's your thing, you probably feel bombarded by think pieces and blogs about the greatness of this Warriors team and what it all means for the league. But you might not have taken the time to read this story from Sports Illustrated.
The big takeaway from the story is how Draymond Green, still wearing his uniform after losing Game 7 to the Cavs last season, texted Kevin Durant to try to recruit him to join the team. Durant responded, "I'm ready. Let's do this."
But there is so much more that makes this story great, right? So many details about the year that followed, that text exchange. For example, Durant used to listen to the song "Don't Worry, Be Happy" when he was feeling stressed about joining his new team. Or how he used to share a hoop with the bench players because he didn't want to disturb any of the stars by taking their basket.
He's so humble. There are so many opinions about Durant leaving Oklahoma City. Cue Mike Davis, our producer, to join the Warriors.
Don't get him started.
Yeah, don't get him started. But the writer, Lee Jenkins, doesn't bother with any of that. He simply tells the story of the year in Durant's life. Whether you think he's a punk for leaving or a legend for how he triumphed, this story reminds you that at the end of the day, he's just a human trying to reconcile with his decision, and that's TLDR.
Yeah, okay, so moving on. Voters in Virginia have a primary today to select the Democratic and Republican nominees in the race for governor taking place this November. It's a vote that could have huge implications for the future of party politics, and we're going to tell you why this matters.
First, the Democrats. Within the past hour or so, the race was called with Robert Northam projected as the winner. He's the current lieutenant governor. He's got the support of his boss, Governor Terry McAuliffe, as well as the Democrats in the state assembly, most of Virginia's Democratic representatives in Congress, and Senator Tim Kaine. It's like everybody here. Hey, he's a tried and true down-the-middle Democrat if there ever was one.
His challenger was Tom Perriello, not the guitarist from Rage Against the Machine, in case you thought what I did. That's Tom Morello. Perriello is a one-term congressman and Obama State Department employee. Big-name progressives like Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren support him, as well as a number of ex-Obama staffers and Hillary Clinton's campaign manager, John Podesta.
The race has been called a fight for the soul of the Democratic Party and Bernie versus Hillary 2.0, but that's not really accurate. It was actually much closer than that race. And there's even less of a difference between the candidates' policies.
Right.
It's just really big differences in strategy.
Yeah, Northam spent almost twice as much as Perriello, particularly on television advertising. Perriello focused on digital ads, hoping for a big turnout of young voters. Northam's win signals that the Democrats haven't yet fully rejected the establishment.
Now, the Republican side, which as of right now is too close to call. It looks like a slight advantage is being held by Ed Gillespie, a one-time George W. Bush lawyer and ex-chair of the RNC. He's been pretty wishy-washy on Trump. Sometimes he agrees with him and sometimes not, and that's probably smart given how blue Virginia has become. They have 2 Democratic senators, a Democratic governor, and they voted for Hillary last fall.
Yeah, but Gillespie's opponent, Corey Stewart, is pretty much the opposite. He ran Trump's campaign in Virginia, and he even has his own Trumpian nickname for Gillespie, Establishment Ed.
Oh, I like that. All right, so today's primary is a great litmus test for 2018. It's perhaps the purest opportunity to see how our nation's politics have changed since Trump was elected in November. If you're a Democrat, you need to know what's more valuable, a traditional campaign with mainstream endorsements or something more grassroots. Tradition has basically won out tonight.
Yeah, but if you're a Republican, what's the magic formula for just how much to distance yourself from the president, if at all? The states have been called the laboratories of democracy, and Virginia is running a pretty wild experiment that may signal what's in store for the rest of the country.
And that's why all that matters.
Okay, finally tonight, we want to help answer a question that's kind of hung in the air since yesterday. The political media went into a frenzy last night after one of Trump's friends said the president was considering firing Special Prosecutor Robert Mueller.
If you're like us, your first reaction to that was probably, wait, can he do that? Well, officially, no, but actually, there are two ways he could do it. One, he could trump the problem by just throwing out the rules and doing whatever he wants. The courts could challenge him on this, and to be honest, they'd likely win.
Yeah, the second way he could get rid of Mueller is by compelling someone else to do it. There is some glaring historical precedent for this. So in 1973, Richard Nixon tried to get Watergate Special Prosecutor Archibald Cox fired. He asked his attorney general to do it. The guy refused and resigned in protest. Nixon then asked the deputy AG, who also refused and resigned.
This series of events is known as the Saturday Night Massacre, and is the thing that really got the ball rolling for Nixon's impeachment. So the president does have choices, but doing nothing seems like it might be the best one.
Yeah, and that's The Cycle today. Thanks for watching.
Be sure to follow us at The Cycle Live. Have a good night.
Establishment AJ.
And I'm Establishment Jacques. The cycle compels you.
We'll see you tomorrow.
The cycle compels you. Cycle. Make sure to follow us at The Cycle Live on Twitter and Instagram.
And like, share, subscribe to us on YouTube and Facebook, all that good stuff at The Cycle Live.